Welcome to tutorial 209, and a Gold Pass member asked how it would be possible to go about altering the bar transparency using something like this, a slider. You can see it's moved that along and you'll see the transparency of the plot, or rather the bars change. So if we look at the normal way that we can alter the transparency, if we just get a regular chart, you see the chart, then we can go to the data, edit the data, and then you'll see in the style you have the possibility of altering the transparency, which is another way of doing it. What we have to do is modify that, then say OK, and then we'll see the change on the chart. So we're doing this in a slightly different way, but hopefully this technique might have some applications for you. So let's go and have a look at the program. It's as I say, tutorial 209. Essentially the main part of the program is we're using a slider, but the way that this thing works is when we've got the slider value, then we convert that into color value. So first of all, we create the alpha value, which is this calculation here, and then using that we can use the ARGB. So if we right click on that, you'll see how that can be used to get the color from the RGB values and from the value of the alpha value. So that's what we're doing. We're modifying the colors. So we've got up color, down color, and wick color. And then in this program, we are using just regular plots, but we're using plots with a specific setting. So before we look at the logic, we'll just have another look at that. So this is the study. I'm going to say edit study. I'm going to double click on it, and just to show you the setups for this program. So if we go into style, and you'll see we're plotting open, close, high and low. So the open I've set as bar high, and incidentally I've set this value here as paint as vertical line. C I've got as bar low. H as bar high again, but this time we've got paint bars, body and wick set there, and then L is bar low. And other things that I've done here is, in general, I've set the maximum number of bars study will reference to 1,000, to a fixed value. So let's say OK there. The other thing that I've done, I should just mention, is in the data for this chart is I've set the value of the transparency right down to clear. So you see, if I were to bring that back up, you'd start to see the original bars through these transparent bars that we are creating. But we don't want to do that. We just want to have all the bars set to a style transparency of clear. Okay, so let's have a look at the code. And what we're doing is starting from the most recent bar and counting backwards, and then we're plotting the values of the open, high, close, and open using this value here. So we're doing two different colors for the bars, depending on whether it's up or down colors. So we're saying if the close of that particular bar, so this would be, for example, C0 in square brackets for the most recent bar, C1 for the next oldest, C2, etc. So if it's greater, then we're going to plot the up color, and if it's less, in other words else, then we're going to do the down color. And then we're just going to do the same wick color for whether it's an up or down bar. So we go through each time, every time the slider is moved, and we go back and replot those bars. We also need to take account of the bars that we're plotting in real time, and we just do that down here, so we don't need to go back in time. We're just plotting the values. We're using plot 3, 4, 5 and 6 incidentally. We plot those values, but we do need to recalculate the alpha values so that they match with the other bars. And then the only other thing we're doing is we're saying once, and we're showing the alpha. Now what is alpha? That is what I've named my form. So what we would do here, if we're starting from a new program, so let's for example just set up a new indicator. I'm just going to call it test. And if we wanted a form, we would right click and we would say add form, and then we would see a place where we can add other items to the form. In this case, what we did was we added a slider. So I just grab the slider, click on it, and drag it over into the form, and then you can stretch that, move it, change its values here on the right of the screen in the properties. So in this case, we had a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 10. I made it a maximum of 100 there. The other thing we can do is within this area here, which is the events, we want to grab the new value of the slider every time that there is a change in the scroll. So if we were to right click there, what that would do is, if we go back to our test program, that would add an event here, slider scroll, and it's in that we can get the value of the transparency and then change the colors. So that is the code that you're not seeing here because it's all going to be in the designer generated code, and it's perfectly fine for it to stay there. There's no need to copy that, but if you wished, you could copy this into your main program. And I would just copy this area here into the one statement. So just going back one more time to the program, just have a look at that. And I think I already mentioned, but it is important to note that I've got some specific settings here to make this work properly, including having the max bars back set as fixed value, and I've set that, or rather the number of bars. I put bars back to 2000, and then in the actual study I've got the max bars study wall reference set to 1000. And then in the actual program, what I do is I count back to the max bars back. In fact, max bars back -1. Otherwise, you could get into, for example, you could do bar number, which would be the latest bar number on the chart. But as new bars are developed, that would then generate an error, and it would be saying increase the max bars back. Okay, well, hopefully that might be useful to you. Obviously the colors here I've set as red and green, but you could change those. So we could have, for example, cyan, magenta, like so, and then you can see that those values are reflected on the chart. Okay, incidentally, if you're not part of the Markplex email list, then please go to markplex.com and join the email list, and also consider joining GoldPass. Thank you.